Porsche, Porsche, Porsche.
Do you want to actually say Porsche, Porsche, Porsche?
Porsche, Porsche,
You're bringing one of
Porsche.
your buddies that really likes Porsches too, so...
Porsche.
Well, if that one becomes available,
well, might.
that's got a Teresa written all over it.
It's a little black metal.
Only did you find a way to pack a few in here.
Look at you go.
There's a lot of stuff.
How come they don't end up in your proper storage space up above the
I
office?
rented that out, so I moved the cars out of there. So,
Look at that.
Do you want to do a B-roll?
The first time you opened that, you must have just been a bit spooked.
kind of want to make sure you get it right. So yeah, all the
So
stuff.
that's the one you were about to show me.
That's the one that's pretty, the funky one, yeah. Passed around there. Other stuff here somehow. Dance through here, dance through there, step here, touch that.
You wish?
Tell me something.
Well,
What are we doing here?
we're just looking at Porsches.
Oh, the turbo. This is one of the other ones. This is how the little ones grow up to be bigger ones.
Holy.
Oh my god.
Little one become big ones.
Oh.
Take a little peek at the speedometer.
Oh no. So you can't even drive it then. Oh my god.
Teresa, have a look at the speedometer. I'm gonna get out of the way so we don't hurt a car here. Or odometer is really what he wants you to look at. Just get right to the odometer.
I think I put on maybe, what did I put it on so far? Maybe like 30 miles?
My question in my brain would be, what's it worth? But that's
That's the cool one, because it's an 89. So 89 is the last
last year.
Last year, so it's 5-speed.
It still smells new.
It does, yeah.
It is new.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of little thingies on there. Like, oh, look at this. So back in the day, so you see the handle, they put a little dot on there with glow in the dark.
Oh, smart.
Oh, so
You know,
find
some
it.
kooky little stuff like that.
Oh my. Oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Wow.
Then this voice. So, did you make the calculations before this all happened, or?
I'm just gonna shove it in.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. So where's the rest of the gang then? Where's the rest of
The rest of the gang is up at National Storage.
Really?
Yeah.
And all of this in anticipation of having your other house. And you're really around from all your money.
So yeah.
Well, if that one becomes available,
well, might.
that's got a Teresa written all over it.
It's a little black metal.
This is the one.
This is the one that was parked in '76.
Mm-hmm.
Check
That
out
was
the.
really beautiful in patina still.
Yeah, it had a patina thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh. Tears, killer. And that's even, these door panels are original.
So, whoops.
So it's like,
So is it original interior? Because it looks just right.
you know what? This is actually NOS fabric.
Oh, that's why it
Guys
looks
in,
just right.
guys in California had a roll of NOS fabric.
Oh.
So these headrests are original, door panels are original, dash is original.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's pretty funky.
So this is your favorite of all of them.
You know what?
You never have a favorite.
Nobody ever
has
has a favorite. I like that little lady over there. It's pretty cool. That purple lady here. But this is cool too. You know, they only made 9 black ones, 3 with red interiors.
And then this is a one of one, of course.
Yeah, this is the only one.
By the time you had to
talk
check
about
out.
goofy stuff, there you go. This is the only numbers matching. Red. And the other ones are like X-race cars, so they chopped in half and this and that. So this is like really the only true red black one. So it's kind of cool.
Told you so.
bunch of stuff. But this is kind of one of my favorites. This one's never. I had guys bugging me to buy this one, like, and I said, no, there's no price in this one.
And this is because it's you in a car.
I just like it.
You're a driver, you're a road race guy, and a collector.
And this is like all.
And this ticks all the boxes.
Well, even for style, these things are
Right.
like super cool. Like these are the first muscle car ever to have offset tires. It's got G's on the back and you know, so that's kind of cool. You can't drive money, and you know what? You can't. I think it's a lot more fun walking out to your garage and seeing a shiny car versus a stack of bills.
Or just a little number like this on the bank invoice
Yeah,
statement,
or like, oh my
bank
god,
statement.
look at my Bitcoin today. Oh my god, is this ever exciting? No.
You can't drive Bitcoin.
No, you can't.
You can't smell Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty hard to do a burnout with Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So,
That's the title of my next video.
You can't do burnouts with Bitcoin.
You can't do burnouts with Bitcoin.
and that's the truth, man. And they're fun. And then you get into the stories of these cars. You know, you've same thing. You've seen a lot of guys now. You go and you talk to these guys. I phone these guys up. You know, I talked to the guy in that black Daytona. The guy's 83 years old.
That purchased it new.
Yeah, he bought it brand new. I talked to him. I talked to his son first of all, and his son tells me the story that they went to a drag race.
Yeah.
The NASCAR boys were having like a little promo night on Friday night at the drag strip.
Yeah.
So his dad, they all jumped in the car and they went down to the drag strip to see Petty and David Peterson, and all the boys were there, and the dealership brought in 3 Daytonas. Guys, come and check out these new things called the Daytona. And they had them lined up at the racetrack. And this black one was there.
And he's like, I must have one.
I gotta have it.
Okay, kids.
Porsche.
You're not supposed to give it away like that.
What's that?
We have to. We have to give it away.
It's an exciting day.
Who doesn't love Porsches? We're going on a Porsche adventure with Dave.
Hi guys. Yeah, exciting times. You never know what's in your little neighborhood. Everybody thinks, you know, think of Porsche and you think of Germany, and that's where all the little treasures are. But you know what?
There's a lot of stuff in North America.
Surprising. There's little things that are hiding everywhere. So there's always been a lot of special cars that have come out of this region, and the passion is the same everywhere in the world, no matter what language you're speaking. So you never know what you might find on this adventure today, because there's some cool stuff out here, and obviously these guys are fabulous at sharing stuff with everybody, and it's exciting time. You never know what's around the corner, but you're going to find out shortly.
We are going car shopping, in case you haven't guessed that yet. Should be really, really cool. You're not going to want to miss this. Can't believe we found something like this in our own neck of the woods, like Dave said. I get to hold the camera today because I have my historian princess here. It's going to do all the research on this. And we've brought fellow automotive geek Dave, our favorite Dave. Everybody's got to have a favorite Dave.
There's lots of us, and
Yes.
I'm glad I'm your favorite, so that's good.
We've been nerding out on the internet trying to figure out what this car is all about, how rare it is,
Yes.
and we're taking you with us.
Stay tuned.
Well, and this is where we're going to get a real history lesson. Like he's trying to sell me a car, so he's going to be very partial to that. But beyond that, he's super, super smart.
It's cool. It'd be cool to
You'll
talk
like
to
seeing
Yeah.
he's got a Speedster that he's been restoring forever, his wife's car, and they want to pay off their property so that it's available. That's why I thought it'd be really cool for us
Yeah,
to
I'd
get
love to
this
check.
lesson and
Super.
Yeah.
sort of have him share his knowledge. he's spent a lot of time racing them. I think because I'm doing all the labor myself, we really don't look at her car as an investment. It's just an opportunity to own one.
Oh, they're killing cars.
And I mean, we were looking at $80,000 ones, the plastic ones at.
Yeah, the Intermectica.
Oh, I was thinking about one of those things too, just because of you know, whatever.
But by the time we get to that number, with me doing all the labor, we're
Here,
gonna have a real
right
one.
here. Are we here? No? Oh, next corner.
Yeah, that's cool for sure.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, it's super neat to get into it, and like anything else, once you start driving one, they just kind of appear to you, right?
Well, the one I saw yesterday.
Yeah, because it's like
What's the chances of that? I had Wendy with me, so I couldn't judge. I'm like, oh, okay. I even did a trip to you. Did a little hook came back there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the car. I said, oh, I'd like to get out of the car and go actually crawl underneath it and look at it, but that might be. Hey, I thought we were going for lunch. Never mind your cars. But they're fun that they're super cool. What color is yours?
The original color
Yeah.
was red.
Red. Okay.
Yeah. Ruby red.
And of course, hers was a cabriolet
Yeah.
that I converted to a Speedster. So it's a.
So,
Oh, okay.
so the one
it's a
that
hag job.
Yeah, 'cause
so
I
the
never
one
made
that we're looking
Speedsters
at
in,
is a
in 64, that's right.
1959.
The cool thing is,
This is this
This is a 59.
Yes, it is 59. And I even
Convertible.
went back because they made a few 60s, so I went back and I hunted on the internet,
yeah.
and I found one that had a VIN number that was 4 VIN numbers before this one.
No shit.
So it showed
Really?
it as it's an early 59.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm it was a 59 or a 60. 'Cause a lot of guys talk about these cars being, they try and play the numbers game. It's like, oh my God, they made way less Ds because they made 1,331 Ds.
That's right.
Total.
Yeah.
Total.
944 in 59.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering where that
Yeah.
the other ones are coming from because I don't know where they would have. Because I thought
He's
He'll know.
he knows
Yeah.
it's 1,300 total cars,
It's 1331 is
But-
what they say on
but
them.
59 they only made 944.
Yeah, I sent you that little clip there that showed
Yeah.
that number in there.
Yeah, I think that's the.
So these guys will try and play the game of, oh, this is the rare of the one, but hang on, I'll tell you what, they only made 200 1954 Speedsters. That's rare.
That's right.
You can't group multiple Speedsters together. You can, whatever, depending on whatever Kool-Aid you're trying to
Yeah,
get people to drink.
yeah.
You can obviously,
But then.
like I can, like, hey, guess what? This Mopar doesn't have a radio. Oh my God, this is amazing.
It's pink. Is it pink? Here's where the history lesson begins.
Hey, Frank. How are you?
It's good to see you on your feet again. Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not hobbling this time.
No, not hobbling is right. Yeah, it's getting a lot better.
Good. This is Dave.
Hi, Dave. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an exciting little honey hole that we bumped into here.
Yeah, I suppose.
See, you don't actually realize these things are happening, in our little neck of the woods, and man, this is fabulous. Thanks for letting us come check out what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely, no worries. So,
So what year is this? What year is this?
this is 59.
59 too, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, 59A.
And what's the difference? Well, you're going to tap into all your knowledge here to get a ton of it. So obviously this one, so the A is fixed and the D is removed.
Yeah, well, cabriolet, A cabriolet. Because A applies to,
But
coupe.
they're all A's, then they're A, and
Yeah.
D is that is maybe a
They're-
option, whatever you want to call it.
pre-A to 1955, from conception to 1955, and that's what they referred to. The pre-A had like the bent windshield, an odd-looking windshield. They made cabriolet back then as well. So they made coupe and cabriolet, and then when the A chassis comes around with the cabriolet with a nice rounded windshield in 59.
So what's the first, I saw a little thing on there, was 51 the very first year for a cab?
Yeah, somewhere right in there.
And that had, is that a two-piece windshield?
No.
Okay, so the 51s, that had the other
Yeah,
two-piece,
that's a pre-A.
the pre-A, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me
Cab's
about this
got the
little
fif-
guy.
Okay. That's a 63 cab. 356C cab. That's the first, there's halfway through the year, the beginning of the year they had drum brakes. 6 months in, then they finally went to the C disc brake one. So this is a disc brake car.
And would that be the first ever disc, I guess?
Yep.
In 63 something?
Yep.
And when did they stop these 64?
Yeah, 65. It's actually 65. You could still get a 911, a 912, and a 356C.
Okay.
So you could get
And
3.
C being different, is that total different chassis-ish type thing?
No, no.
Okay.
Actually, the chassis itself, the front suspension, everything virtually the same.
So why do they call it a C then?
Well,
what drove them to change the letter from?
Combination of things, and it goes back as far as basically the tail end of 1959. Department of Transport said, if you look at the headlights on this car, they're way low compared to
Low
that
in the
car.
body.
Yeah. So in
Okay.
turn, North American
Okay, gotcha.
vehicles, they were basically running over top of them. The theory was that they were dangerous, right? So they want them to, they couldn't see them, is what they said. So Department of Transport said, raise the headlights.
And so what year did they raise the headlights? Or
As soon as the conception of 356B comes about in 1960,
on the B's? Okay.
yeah, that's when the headlights get raised.
Okay.
And then there's a whole bunch of different designations to try and sum it up, but this is a T5 chassis, T5A. And then when we switch to that with the wider hood, you can see how wider the hood is.
Yeah.
And the difference, that's a T6 chassis. So what Teresa's car started out with is a T6. And now it's being backdated basically to a T5A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So at the under, when you talk about all this chassis, that's
Virtually the same.
So the bodywork. That's
Yeah, the
that's
battery
okay,
box
yeah.
area in T5 is different than in T6. Just because of the whole footprint is wider in there. The overall chassis, like the pans themselves, interchange. The longitudinals interchange. Virtually all the same wheel, base, track, front beam design. Everything's virtually the same. That's what your exhaust looks like, by the way.
That's fantastic.
We may have to put a silencer in it or something if you. It is.
No.
I don't think that's us.
No.
No.
Okay.
No silencer.
All right.
So
Yeah.
this is kind of replicating
That's-
stock, or is this basically headers for a 356?
Yeah. The
right.
and this was
Okay.
these came out. They were called the Sebring exhaust, and Sebrings haven't been. Well, there's been various different things produced over the years, but this is done by some German lads out of the old country, and they do a great job at it, and it makes power.
I guess that's what it's all about, flow line.
Yeah, and it's
This is
and
a
it's
nice
tuned.
restoration.
I mean, it's matched. So that you have equal length to the merge
Wow, okay,
from
wow.
here to here.
The bends to get the
Yeah,
length, eh?
yeah,
Fabulous.
yeah.
So
So
what's this up here? Is that just the heat shield?
this is the heat exchanger. That's what produces the heat in the car. The
Okay.
engine heat comes down off the cylinders, and then it flows over the exhaust and out through here and into the
So
chassis.
they've actually put a little effort into have a heating system in the car.
Yeah. Well, for example, that car, my friend Michael, he shipped it back out from Toronto again this year, so he could drive it out here, and then gonna leave it with me again for the winter, and then drive. Well, we all might go for another drive and go back in June or something like that. But we did that 2 years ago. We drove back to Ontario in it, so
Oh, wow.
we have now. I think we have a little over 6,000 miles on it since the restoration, where it's just done
Fabulous.
across to Muskoka, and then back to truck back here, and then here he's just gone around and drove around the Kootenays and whatnot in the last while. So,
So with this one you're building here, is this a customer's car? Or
Mhm.
So do you try and, your efforts is to get it back to its original,
as close as what's feasible, depending, because
what
in this
customer
case
wants are and stuff too, eh?
he inherited it from his father. His father was an old hot rodder, and his uncle were an old Volkswagen hot rodder. They played with this car extensively.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
So there was some really cool stuff and some really interesting things to re-engineer, because the 200 millimeter flywheel wasn't available with this car, but they built it. And, but they got what I thought was just a 356C flywheel, but it turned out that they used a 356C clutch disc and a Volkswagen van 200 millimeter pressure plate and various different things and machined it. So
And what would be a stock one? They're obviously have a smaller diameter.
180.
Okay.
So just, which 180s with adequate pressure work well.
So they just went bigger for more surface area to get a little
Yeah,
more bite.
yeah,
to it.
because they had, in the trunk were old Vinoya race pistons and various different things that were in there. So there's lots of cool stuff they did. So consequently, it's kind of homage to his father. So that's why the bit of exhaust work and interesting things, and then his own creature comforts like heated seats and you know those things.
Oh, heated seats, honey.
Yeah. It's actually not a huge deal to do, right?
Yeah,
It's like
slide them underneath there. And
yeah,
get by.
that's it. Yeah, and there's so many wonderful little kits out, and they work really well, right? And it's just,
You just said the magic words.
you know, I don't know how we
Well, it
survived
extends-
without seat heaters.
Extends the ride, you know what? It's
Yeah.
no problem. You can push
Yeah.
through the snow.
Yeah,
I have my seat heater on in the summertime.
yeah.
Just
Oh yeah.
it's my back.
Yep, lower back. That's it. I mean crawl in. The thing goes on high. It
Yeah.
warm up and unsees, right?
So has this one got a bit of a, obviously talking about the clutch there, so has this thing got a little bit of a hot rod motor in it too?
Yeah, this is 1720, and then with Weber carburetors and so on and so forth, light and flywheel. And
So what do you think that
this one actually with the light and flywheel and this exhaust actually made 115. Yeah.
It's funny when we talk about our big, again, I've got some Mopar stuff. We talk about our heavy horsepower.
I made a joke about that, but Frank didn't like it when I said it.
But it's,
You know, it was dollars per horsepower, and I was getting kind of beat up on it. And then there was a discussion about Subaru stuff and horsepower, and yeah, so it's
but
like,
it's neat when you put it in perspective. You know, you talk about the weight of the car, and you talk about saying
The balance of the
you talk
car,
about taking his
the-
motor has 60 horse, the next he's got 115. Well, you know what? It's pretty hard to take a Hemi from 500 to 1,000.
Right.
So that's
right.
the cool part is proportion-wise, like, man, holy smoke,
Yeah.
it's doubling the horsepower
Well,
with the Magic. So
and then
it's
we'll
super
see what, like for Teresa's, we've now got 90 millimeter piston cylinders, it's 90 millimeter big
cool.
bore
And what
kit.
would be, what's
So,
stock?
Well, stock was 82, these are 86, and this one for 1720, and Teresa's is 90. So that's about as big as we can go.
And do you do such a thing as do you stroke? Is there thing? Can you stroke these things like we do? With,
They are,
North American stuff.
they're honestly stroked as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they were on top. It took
Yeah.
the American guys had to, get somebody else to take a 7 run. The German guys said, "Hey, tell you what, we'll squeeze it right up day one."
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
yeah. So,
You must get a kick out of you've been around these cars for a long time to see that the engineering that was happening even back then, the little tweaky things they were doing. So obviously got some some great minds. Putting their
yeah,
heads together and coming up with this.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean,
back in the day, it's pretty fun, isn't it?
yeah, it's pretty, it hasn't really, it's all been done before, kind of thing, So, the early hot rodders did some stuff, and then we're just taking it a little bit. Now we've got, things to move things along, like the ignition, which is the optical programmable ignition that looks exactly the same. And if somebody would have told me that I was going to pull up my phone and set a new advance curve, like that car when we were running back east with it, I had complete dashboard on my phone. And if I didn't like what was going on with fuel or whatever, I just loaded a new map on the
No
ignition.
kidding.
Are
Yeah.
these things, so would they be fuel injected then too with the carbs? Or they're-
No,
No,
that's
okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
But that advance curve is mission critical. And
That's
we're,
cool, eh?
you know,
So with these things, again, I don't know so much about these things. Are they points and condensers like the North American stuff?
they were,
They were,
right?
right? So,
But
okay.
that's what we're getting at here is it's
Yeah,
an
yeah, all that.
optical,
Yeah,
optical
yeah,
one.
yeah. Make them look like it's not, and then put the new Magic in it, like say, so you can tinker when you need to,
Yep,
which is
Yep.
fabulous.
yeah. Yeah,
really cool.
and you also get, you got vacuum available, you got engine temperature, you got voltage.
Right.
All of those things are there, so you don't need a bunch of instruments on the dash that kind of,
Right.
take away from
Yeah, you
the
just put the big, put the big thing on down, this, that, mount something on the hood. No, just hang on.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, we'll give technology and the phones we'll give them a couple tokens for
Yeah.
goodness. So
yeah, yeah.
There's some neat stuff under here.
Oh, all the weird little
Yeah.
quirky crap. But yeah, this is what I was rattling on about. Yes, the other day. Is just like, yeah, you can get these guys, but then that's a millimeter bigger, and in turn had to stretch the inlet tube and then fab the new clamps, right? You know,
what is that piece doing?
it takes it.
That's the heat exchanger.
The heat comes from here,
yeah.
flows
Fires
by
it
way of
up,
the tube through the air flap. This is actually a silencer to reduce the engine noise travels through the heat duct.
into the car.
Yeah.
So it's basically a muffler for your heater system.
Yep. Exactly. Oh yeah. It looks like a little muffler inside, right?
That's cool.
And then
And
there's a flap to shut it off. So
Okay,
when you release the cable, it shuts the engine off, the flow from the engine, but it also shuts it off here, so it won't take and vacuum, because otherwise it'll regurgitate things with the cab top off and creating a low pressure. Right?
Oh wow.
Right.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
Things you got to think about.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. That's fun stuff. I would have never even, that's something who would ever think, again, being more around the North American stuff, well, it's just hot water through a radiator. Well, guess what? We don't have no hot water going through this motor, so we got to do things a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Show us the belle of the ball,
Okay.
your wife's car.
Sure.
I was just gonna ask that. That's so crazy that you said the belle of the ball, because that was exactly what was in my head. Oh man, she's pretty.
You know, what was very, very cool was that the lady that we got this from her son, but the lady that had this car, I was able to connect with her over the winter. And 2 weeks ago, she came up and got to see this car for the first time in 60 years.
Wow.
And she is the sharpest, coolest lady.
No kidding.
She told me phenomenal stories while she was here, because she raced it at Westwood and
Well, is this an ex-race car?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. No, this
Lady-driven race car.
yeah, it was originally purchased by a fellow up here, and then this car, before the Knox Mountain hill climb,
Yeah.
there was the West Bank hill climb
Okay.
Really?
that came up beside the winery on Boucherie area, right? There's unfortunately fly crap on it right now. It's got yeah, but this car set fastest time of the day. It's documented against the Lister Corvette and a Jaguar, I think, or a Corvette. No, Lister Jag and a Corvette or something.
So local history.
Linda Robinson at the time or whatever.
So what are we looking at here?
This is a 58D.
This is a 58D.
Yeah.
And so with the Ds, I just doing a little digging myself there. So is there 59Ds also?
Yep.
Okay, so it's 58, 59, right?
Yep, that was it. There's 1332 made through that period of time. They took the Speedster chassis and they put a taller windshield on it. They modified the doors for roll-up windows, and but it's virtually the same car.
Right. And so this one, obviously, it's set up body-wise here. This is the removable windshield
Yep.
idea.
Right where those holes are. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it goes across the.
Yeah.
And what's,
there.
this is, it goes up here, okay.
Yeah, those are the defrost vents.
Yeah, and there's a little. If you can see, there's little holes along there. I think that are still there. Some of them. So there's a little channel that little right angle piece of formed sheet metal that goes along there that holds the windshield seal in place, right? They're a challenging windshield at best to make fit properly.
Right.
But
The body shape, this is the same as.
well,
It's early nose.
So that 356A front, but then where it changes the cowl, right? And then JF actually pointed this out to me was when we were talking, but it was the difference in the belt line, where the doors drop down, and this was the tremendous amount of work that you've gone through
Yeah.
to reproduce this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these have, so the D has
Roll-up windows.
Roll-up windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was an option for your car. We could have done that.
And
We just sort of chose not to.
I'm gonna have heated seats instead.
It's a fair weather car. I think they all are anyways.
Well, we ran the fall over to Ontario and that,
Yeah.
And he's been out. He just actually headed home to Toronto yesterday.
Yeah.
But he's been up all through the Kootenays and whatnot in the last little while. Heat worked great.
Yeah.
So.
So this belt line change, obviously you're talking, that's from the 60 up,
This is for road, specifically for Roadster and Speedster, was this beltline change, the tub change. If we look at the back of the rear cowl, see how short it is on
Yeah,
that cabriolet?
so that cabriolet is only this long, which is what ours is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then this is the, they narrow it up like that.
Okay, so sorry, that's what year again on that one? Sorry,
That's 59,
it's also 59.
and this is 59 as well.
Oh, okay, so that's the cabriolet.
Cabriolet
versus
has-
the D or Speedster.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
So cabriolet has 4 seats, so 4 bums can go in it.
Yeah.
This is 2 seats, correct?
well, there's kind of a place for bums in the back.
But from factory, they didn't
No,
have the actual
but there was no
seats.
seat
Correct.
per se.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just all carpeted.
Yep.
And it was, it's still the race format in the sense that the boy racer could show up, remove the windshield, and go racing.
There it is. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
How they took the windshields off and put them back on it and didn't break a half dozen windshields, I do not know. Because I certainly can't, but
Yeah.
they were obviously much more skilled at it. But then on the other hand, the windshield was probably $12,
Right. Right.
right? So.
Got a spare at home.
So I have for the other car, the top portion of that frame. What I don't have are the posts,
Oh, yeah.
but I do also have a Speedster frame with posts
Right.
that you can have with it as well. So
Right.
you can put a Speedster.
Do these things fold down? When you talk about the way the top folds down, is it always the same? Like the Speedster, I guess obviously the D's had a little bit more higher windshield. They had a little taller, different frame, and when they're folded down flat, do they all fold kind of the same way? That they're the same. You put your tonneau cover on there, they feel the same. Or
They're going to have they're definitely somewhat visible. Like you're not going to hide it under the
so the
tonneau.
D's sit up a little taller than a Speedster.
No, they're this one, because they like the later, like the cabriolet, for example, whether it's pre-A right through to C, the cab top is identical. Believe it or not.
Right.
So, and it's one of the most elaborate tops. So it's got headliner and hood, head pad in it, and so on and so forth. It's insulation. So, whereas these guys, it was just
Very primitive.
basically very, straightforward, right? Just slight little headliner,
Yeah.
no pad, and then the canvas.
A lot of
Go
stuff.
go look at the one we might be able to afford.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we go look at the race motor first, or we should go look at the?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. I've got barn cats, and then to keep the mice down, and then I inherit other cats that come in to eat the food and use the
course.
facilities as well.
Freeloaders.
Yep.
There we go.
Nice. That's proper. That wasn't here before.
Well, the poor thing has been languishing around, so it's now unfortunately
Man, you got a great.
relegated to the ceiling, and
Love it.
And for some reason, I've had that before when I hang them. You can never get the oil out of them, right? It's constantly, so I gotta go up and clean it again and see if I can get it out. It's dripping on us, so. So it's dirty, needs detailing, whatever, but that is about as state of the art as you can for 356 race engine. So as you can see by like the super duper lightened flywheel and whatnot. So, and that's
This section right there.
Yeah.
Knock that out for
yeah,
rotating mass.
yeah, and so this engine's done by a very good friend of mine, Arthur Connor, and he's pretty successful at 356 race engines in the West Coast.
So what's the magic that you did to pump a little horse out of these things?
So that because the rules stated in vintage that you couldn't go with a big bore kit back in the time frame. You can now. It's 1620 cc's, but it is 12.5 to 1 almost, bordering on 13, and as much duration as you can throw at it. And where the magic is in those cylinder heads, and actually, out of all the years, this is the first time I've actually got a hold of Arthur's cylinder heads, and he's never, even good friends don't share stuff.
So the big question, obviously, there's the Magic, and then it was producing something. What do you think the?
Like honest horsepower, about 135.
What?
Yeah.
And you have to run race gas, obviously, at 12.
Yeah.
Well, we can do that.
Yeah. And the only thing that I've done with this engine was a very good old friend of mine who has since passed away was just an absolute guru with these 40P11 carburetors, and that he did that last set for me.
And are these?
And so these are the Solux carburetors that would have come on 356 or like Super 90, 356C, and so on. But these have been opened up to a little bit bigger. We're not going to talk about that anymore. And then these velocity stacks are about as rare can be. So, and,
Just pretty.
Volkswagen tunnel rams.
yeah, exactly.
They don't want to come
Yeah,
out.
and it
There we go. Oh yeah.
doesn't have low end torque enough to get out of its own way until it gets going. Right. So it's going to be an interesting thing to learn to drive, because it has basically 2 second gears.
You were saying, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to drag that clutch and drag that clutch and drag that clutch.
Now, can that be modified back to having a real first
Oh,
gear?
for sure, if you wanted to go streetwise. But if you're going to race it, that's the combo, because it comes up with this gorgeous close ratio gearbox.
Right.
Two-speed only?
Nope, 4.
Four
But
speed.
very nice, tight stuff.
But 2 similar gearings.
Gearings.
Instead of first, you've got one gear that's quite a bit taller, more like a second. And then that way, when you're road racing, instead of having a bull low first, you've got a gear that actually still creates momentum, I think is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
And what's these things now? We talk about horsepower. What are these things? RPM? What's the change in there?
Oh, I mean, with the valve train and so on, you can go 7,500, 7,800. Not that I would suggest that you do that consistently, but it'll do it.
And what's stock?
Um,
Stock red line.
65 is kind of a happy spot, I think so. But that's got fully counterweighted scat crankshaft and Corello connecting rods and you name it.
Amazing. I love all of the quirks.
Saw one of those earlier. The roof was knocked off.
See the size and difference of the bore?
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and these are billet ductile iron called Durabar. High nickel, yeah, $500 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, so I sold off the other ones and watch of these
Nice.
ones.
Yeah,
So.
you can see that has a little, push a little harder. It's a bigger go.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So this is your little, is it your dyno in here?
Yep.
Awesome. Now you've got it all going on here. This is not just your
You
regular.
know,
This is a little bit more than just a farm shed out here.
Yeah,
Love
it's a bit messy in there right now, but yeah, 911S engine that's been sitting for 25 years.
Oh wow.
That they want to try to run, which
And what year is
client's
that?
choice.
What
So
year is the S?
It's a 1970S.
1970.
Yeah. Cool story. I mean, he was one of the, hockey players that went overseas or whatever. So a lot of those guys went over and played back in the 70s, and so he brought the car home from Germany with him.
Wow.
and still owns it.
Was he
Yeah.
back there in 1970 doing that
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I have a hockey friend that that was his first signing bonus with the Astros
Okay.
in 1972, and they gave him a 1972 Porsche,
Yeah.
and he still has it.
Oh wow.
Isn't that neat?
That's
yeah,
cool, yeah.
he still has it, and it's beautiful.
surprisingly, there's quite a bit of that. You know,
Yeah,
I've come across that, and I've had a handful of guys that have brought them back from Germany and kept them.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
So,
the cars have literally never gone out of style, though.
no,
Ever.
no, not at all.
Well, it
There's
was
never been a point where a 911 was not fashionable.
in the 80s. We had that was what was on our poster on the wall. The white Carrera was
Yeah.
on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And for the boys, it was that and probably Farrah Fawcett or something.
Oh, yeah, we got their faucets right there too.
Oh yeah.
I tried to marry for a faucet one day.
Yeah. All right, let's go for a walk down to the. I didn't have time to bring it up. So.
That's all good. Teresa,
So that's an example of a roof right here, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually the cab top.
Oh, there we go.
Glass beaded it and repaired all the hinges and so on and so forth, and that's the original tan color to it. So that's next week's gig,
And this one belongs to which car?
the white car.
A white car.
Yeah.
And obviously a little bit of, put a little good old
That's
wood in
that
these
rear
things?
hoop. This is actually oak as well,
Really, yeah.
which we were able to salvage with the aid of a lot of composite.
So, just out of
These are
curiosity,
laminated layer.
what is the cost of just that?
That cab top.
Yeah.
Well, good example is the green car.
Yeah.
The top was missing.
Oh, okay.
So by the time we brought it in from Porsche Classic and landed Canadian dollars, pretty close to 9,000.
Okay.
And then plus for the frame, the bird cage.
Right.
And then they're crafted to fit the vehicle. So I probably had 120 hours into it afterward to do the cab top to make it fit on the car.
Holy smokes. So can you get, so is the one you just talked about, is that an original piece or is it a reproduction piece?
It's a reproduction exact, but it's sold by Porsche Classic. So they're the, reproducing the original parts, right?
So are they actually a true arm of Porsche, or are they
Yep.
just somebody's?
Yeah, they're
True
they're
arms, okay.
authorized by them, or it's what you get for the vintage stuff, right?
That's
So
cool. That's nice to have that available. Otherwise, you're.
yeah,
it's not
it would
easy
be
to find
nice.
originals.
Oh yeah. Oh, we
That's-
just
oh.
forgot about that.
Jeez.
That is a prize.
Tell us more.
Well, you get to crimp that on once you've done. Well, should you just choose to go down there, or whoever.
So is this NOS stuff then?
No.
Somebody
No.
actually reproduces this?
Yeah. Trevor hammered that out for me, and then so I like this is the original frame to the car, right? Base frame, right? Mm-hmm. And then once you know what your tub size and dimension is, then get it in the bead roll and roll it and crimp your edge.
So the look here again, you're obviously going. Is this?
Are you stressing already?
No, I'm just wow. This guy's he's a little bit familiar with working with metal, so
You know what? I have some talent, but I'm not the best.
No, I've
pieces of plastic, so you're not too bad at it. So.
Yeah.
So this look here, is that kind
So,
of for custom look, or is that replicating something
No,
from back in the day?
Carrera GT or 356 GT. That's an exact replica aluminum lid.
And that's a Carrera GT, because I know obviously you see back there they talk about.
Yeah.
Hey.
Great, how are you?
How are you?
Good. How are
Did
you?
I cut into something?
No,
that
you're
you guys
No.
Good.
Sustenance.
Do you have your granddaughter today?
I do not.
Oh.
No.
Gosh, she was a lot
Yeah,
of fun
so-
last time
Yeah.
she was here. Nice
Yeah,
to
that's
see you.
basically an
too.
extra. You could get them,
Great. And happily married.
if
now.
you wanted to do the boy racer thing, and it's a common thing to do. The GT look is awesome, right? Because if you put bumpers onto it and the wider deco trim and so on. GTs had a lot more aluminum panels than just that. They had the doors and the front lid and stuff like that, right? So.
And what about I saw in one little, snooping through the 356 stuff, I saw a twin grill.
That's C,
Okay.
356C, right?
Okay.
Well, and I'll take that back. In '63, that transition over the Detron did chassis after Ruger, or after Gross, I should say, and they produced a Belgian twin grill roadster back then, which is super rare.
What are the ones they talk about double overhead cam motors, and I've seen something about push rod motors too.
Well, okay, so the Carrera GT had 4-cam engine.
Okay, that was the one.
And that's what that lid basically, along the directive of that, right?
Okay.
But there was quite a bit of difference in the inner workings on the Carrera because, of course, those grills were designed to feed the carbs and the inductive system and so on and so forth. So there's lots of stuff to look in there.
Boy, oh boy, you said we were going to learn something today. we only got a sliver of this guy's knowledge.
Don't
here.
have that much room in my head right now, but
That's
I'm
old
trying.
boys. We should have
I'm
brought a couple extra hard drives to plug in, plug out, so we could keep them loading it up here.
We've been nerding out about these cars just for the last, I don't know, little while anyways. And it was like, oh, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you know this? I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm really ready to learn, but there's no better place.
Well,
than
it's
here.
every day's a school day.
Yeah.
And I'm continuously finding, like there's new footage coming up like that one I sent you, the factory and stuff like that. There's stuff that surfaces that,
Wild.
as long as it's not somebody reworking some sort of AI thing or something, but it was kind of a lot of stuff was available pre AI, so I believe it's accurate.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
Well, you think these things are built by human beings,
Human beings.
not machines.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Oh
you
yeah, like
never
the
know what
old
they're up to,
footage
you know.
of like there's actual old footage of
Tin
being.
bashing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just great,
Well,
and just seeing how they're actually building the car.
Well, the buck, so a solid steel buck, so that you can basically stuff the panel on and just go in with a torch and fusion weld the seam and not worry about warping it, because it would conduct it at all. And if it did, you just formed and shrunk it right there, back to shape, right? Because the first time, we ever did like rocker panels or anything like that, I think I was Joe saying to me, look at the amount of lead that we got, like just a tremendous amount of lead that came out of the car, and it was original.
And I think the first two that you restored,
I did
you
lead
actually did
lead
in
back then, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, but
And then I put my foot down and
oh
said,
yeah,
no.
the tinning compound, you're trying to have a mask on and so on. The tinning compound, it's so corrosive, right? And the gases, at the end of the day, your nose is bleeding like and yeah, it was not cool.
Wow, right?
And the realities is that yes, people want the lead on the basis, but they're not realizing the torture and the dangers that the techs have to go through to deal with it.
Well, and I've seen a lot of lead seams on really original cars bleed out. They still have that pimpling right where the lead is.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I've had it happen on our own stuff. If you don't get it, like all the bluing out of the weld, right? So that the tinning is absolutely perfect. If you leave just even the slightest little thing in there, that will corrode, and 6 months later, a year later, you got a little blister.
Right.
And a pimple, right?
Would you have seen much of that? Have you seen very many original paint cars, and do you see that kind of imperfection on the original paint cars? No.
Well, not in a lot of years, but yeah. But the original stuff we used to drag home, we'll find,
Right.
pull them out of.
It's
I was trying to
surprising what
think,
they look
how
like.
many did we get out of that? Out of the one in
How many?
cars that we get that night that we brought that 63 home from Euro 3 or something like
I
that?
feel like they are.
Because it was like that right-hand drive 55, that 63 cab,
And what was the third one?
and that was our coupe.
Right.
That coupe as well. Yeah, there were 3.
The one that you did, Kalahari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really like poo-pooed, right? Like the
Doing
late.
an outlaw at that time was not considered.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
JF built that Mustang there, which was the very first Brittany Blue Shelby GT500. And JF said, bring it over here.
Yeah.
Let's cut it out.
Well, let's cut it up, do this and that, and that's hence the name Cardiac. They named the car Cardiac because the next time one of those guys that are the poo-poo guys, you're like, oh my god.
Well, we first rolled into it because all I had was I wanted to put 6-inch Fuchs alloys on it. Right. Well, 6-inch Fuchs alloys don't fit under those cars, right? So I looked at it and went, well, why don't we just cut the back, cut a pie section out of the back and widen it, and we did it, and then we rolled into Whistler and the
At the big North American Porsche Club meet.
yeah,
And
the-
then we sat back at the restaurant and watched
It was
everybody walk up
priceless.
to the car.
try to figure out how those alloys were underneath there, and because I widened the bumper too, right? And it was subtle, but it just basically instead of the teardrop, but it worked out. It was like 4.5 inches wider in the back, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we couldn't
Yeah, I
afford
do,
chrome,
actually,
so that was we were reps for Seekins at the time, so they brought me this, what was it called, Rally Black, which was this wonderful urethane matte black finish. I thought, and and the beginnings, the prototype and stuff for this Kalahari beige had come out, and I went like, oh, I want that color, and I'm gonna black out all the trim, and yeah, that was. Yeah, we gave that car away. I think we got like 14 grand for it or something because no one wanted it.
Well, I think it's probably worth a lot more than 14 now.
I'd love
knowing that
I'd
we
love
matched
to
your
find it
100
again, right?
We've
we were
never seen it since. Well, we saw it once. Some
Mission Hill. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. There was a young restaurateur from Victoria, and he was rattling on about this car, and he was preaching about it and whatever, and like, yeah, I'm gonna get buried in this thing and whatever. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know the car, you know.
What year would have this
I don't
been?
think you told him that you built it.
Maybe not.
No,
it was
you
a
just sat back and
59 as
listened
well.
and
59
just-
coupe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What year was this? What year did you give it a little tune-up?
19. When Josh was born, 88.
Oh, 88.
Yeah,
that
yeah, we
is-
got it. We would have got it in '83, and then by the time we did it at the original works in Yarrow, we started it there,
Yeah,
and
and
then we
finished it up.
finished it up here. Yeah, and yeah, in the front yard of the property in Lake Country, the
Took a while to
rotisserie
get
out
the
front.
shekels together to actually buy the parts for it.
Yeah,
Guess what, kids? You're not getting disposable diapers. This thing, you're gonna.
there was this
right.
old German neighbor that
Butter
would walk by, and
sandwiches.
he would just stop and stare.
You know you love
And,
it. Well,
um,
margarine, really.
Yeah.
He came down one day and he had to talk to me, and he just said, you know, I know these cars, and he said, I have to tell you something. He said, so when we drove them, the fuel was so bad post-war Germany that he said we'd constantly get very, very fine silt that went through filters, so you couldn't screen it out and whatever, and the tank would fill up.
Oh my
and
goodness.
has a reserve valve in it, right? And he said what would happen is the silt would clog the reserve valve. So he said what I did, he said we would take and tie a string net together and then get a nice round rock that fits through the 100mm cap, and he said we would just take and lower the rocks in to displace the fuel so that it would keep on running.
Oh wow!
You already got silk, why not a rock?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the coolest story.
That's some ingenuity.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But
Problem solving.
well, yeah, because I mean they could barely get fuel. Like, yeah, I mean they'd tell us stories about going to get out. Like they would get isopropyl alcohol, or like would have been isopropyl alcohol or whatever to get it so they could run long enough, you know, to get back home because they would be out of fuel. So yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, we should probably go
they're
down. Well, let's
They're
go down.
running dual fuels back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You gonna go for a walk?
Yeah.
Wait for this trick today.
Thanks.
So that's the one.
Yeah. RSR running gear, my twin turbo motor, and it's sleeper. And then we'll go play. All right. Let's take this. It's sweating underneath there, I'm sure. But
Wrap the kit.
there, Joy, let JF grab that instead of getting yourself dirty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at how thick the paint was on this thing.
No, I think that's called body filler.
It's got
Is
a
that
little
body
bit of
filler?
filler in it, Teresa.
It's pretty thick.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as bang it
it's
out.
like,
Just layer
my
on
God,
there.
that's really
This thing's
thick
probably sat a
paint.
little low in the front end with all that extra.
Yeah. Yeah. She says.
So is that to change
Oh.
the ride height?
Yeah, that gives you adjustable corner weighting.
Oh.
Yeah, which
Receive stuff.
yeah. So
Well, what's the normal? Just go straight through?
yeah.
So, oh, this is so cool. So it was raced.
Oh, it's got. Didn't you see that? I sent you pics of all the logbooks and stuff.
Oh, I didn't get those for some
No?
Where
It was delivered.
Where was it raced?
Oh.
East Coast, but it's got logbooks right back to like 1981.
So it spent most of its time in Canada, or did it go?
Oh, it went down to I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Does it open?
Yeah.
It's welded.
You see the cage goes right up under the.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, the only thing that what I was going to do, JF, because there's a glass cowl, like a single cedar cowl, and I was just going to take and slug and graft it over and just do my normal bar that I do that just goes over me instead of the twin, because they get big and bulbous, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And our old friend Ed went. I found this in California. And Eddie was living in Mount Vernon, Washington. He went, I'll just go down and pick it up, because Ed liked to go for road trips, and he went down and got it. And then he brought it up the next race at Mission.
Yep.
Because we were vintage racing together at the same time. So it's like, yeah.
How long have you had this?
2007, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, it's loose. Just pull it right off, JF. It's there we go.
So what's the, obviously this is factory bin here,
Yeah.
and what's this? They just
That was because it was vintage race in the back east, so that's the CACC or CASC, I should say.
What is that? What is the CAS?
Canadian Auto Sports Club.
Okay, so it's just the,
Yeah.
just the racing.
Yeah, the
Connection.
vintage race league back there, right? So, yeah.
I went and actually dug around, and I found, I was just trying to figure out what year, just confirm what year it was for sure.
Yeah.
I went and I found the VIN number of a car that was built like 3 numbers before this one,
Yep.
just to see.
Well, there's a 356D registry.
Yeah, but this car's not in it, I don't think.
At
At least the one I saw.
It actually, I think it showed there, but
Okay, yeah.
but I haven't jumped on the bandwagon with showing these. They're like they're ours. They're hiding here. We have them. We
Yeah,
know
I'm sure
them.
There's multiple registries type thing too. 'Cause this one had pictures and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
And then you see where all the numbers are all taped.
That don't even. That was a 20-minute thing, JF, just to make sure the windshield didn't fall down. Right. So I grabbed a piece of tubing and tweaked it into shape.
No, it gives it a look at least.
Oh, it does, eh?
So with these, obviously this is the VIN stamp here,
And then I have the original tag.
we got real tags here. Okay, go.
Oh, and
That's in the one in the door.
well, it actually riveted in the right on the cowl right here, actually.
So when you're going through these things too, do you ever bump into the numbers stamped in the panels?
Yep, for sure. Like the Joy's silver car up there's got 85 all over it.
And so they got the last 2 digits, I guess. Is what they
Yep.
do?
Yep.
So you want to see that 887, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. And where
Yeah.
would they stamp them? All loose parts, or?
Yeah. Like this one door has been replaced. I couldn't tell you on that door. I mean, there's no.
So normally,
Unlikely that there's very much or parts that haven't been being raced the way it was. It didn't have doors and things. That I know that inner structure to the hood was the original.
so the doors, so that the lid, the doors, the back lid, they would have been got the 2 bins.
Yep, and bumpers. I just got the chrome back for that white car and Joy's car as well, and the VIN is right inside the hinges, like inside the reclining seat things, and the bumpers too. Like Joy's car's stamped 80, 85.
Do anything with my stuff? Like I was sort of bunch of old cars. So,
Yeah.
like we got part numbers into the even the welded on stuff like that. Does Porsche do anything like that too? Or no?
Yeah, I mean to some extent. I mean they were like these guys are usually on the hinge stuff.
It's nice to have your crazy knowledge and be able to squeeze a little bit of information out of you.
I mean they had done like that rocker and the door jamb and this door were done when I got it. But see the oil lines are there, and then if we look up in here, the twin coolers are already mounted. And there's one on the other side as
That's like
well.
the super duper racy stuff. you're talking
Yeah. Yeah. And then it had like a ratio box with it, but I've got the other one that's got the limited slip and all the really cool pieces.
Can you buy, is there such a thing as finding NOS recorders or somethings, or is that impossible in these things, or you just got to go to production?
They're out there. But
The reproduction stuff's
Just so good, yeah.
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, the thing is, it's all got to be fitted anyways, right? So, so. It has a really tight turning radius right now.
You can see this one probably a little more factory style shims in here, a little stacked
Yeah.
up versus one big chunk.
Yeah.
And I guess your rear mirror, like for us, you know, they had a little pinch weld and a pinch
Yep.
dollar welds, so we
Yep.
can kind of tell on our cars.
Yeah.
Pinch weld, and a couple little tabs. We see
This one's red love.
A regular.
Let's send to Porsche for a certificate
Yeah,
of
Porsche, whatever.
authenticity, right? And that'll give you.
Give you that stuff, eh?
Yeah.
So, what would you be any idea of a guess to what this original color might have been?
Ivory.
It's ivory, okay.
Yeah.
That's what's left over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Ivory. Usually, if they're ivory, they were ruby red leatherette. Okay. Yeah.
But it seems like there was 4 base colors: ivory, silver, maybe. That's what I kind of saw. And again, I'm
Yeah.
just starting. to
Well, actually, there's quite a few different colors.
Base colors,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah. Like the ruby red, the silver, and then you got into. In '59, there were all sorts of things like Smyrna green, which was kind of it's like a buttermint green, I guess would be the best way to describe it. It's kind of a,
Nissan blue or something like that?
yep, yeah, Messing blue, and then,
What year would that color been available? All years or just
yeah, it was
special years, or-
pretty much all there. I'd have to snoop through that. One of my favorite ones was, it's called Fjord Green, which is a gorgeous green, which
Yep.
that's my desires, but you probably never sell it. Never, no one would ever want it.
Yeah, I bumped into this one. This is when it's fun, like GF says, when you start looking around, they just pop up everywhere, kind of thing. But this was driving in Kelowna yesterday, and this was parked on the side of the road.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even know. Again, you can probably quickly tell whether that's a replica or.
Well,
not.
I mean, it's got accurate brakes drums on it and stuff like that. So,
Do you think this color would have been a factory color, or that's?
no, that looks like Tim's color. Like that looks like
The bean.
a bean color. Yeah, we got the green bean up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our buddy Tim, he's actually a clay sculptor for the big auto guys like BMW and so on and so forth. And
Wow.
Tim mixed up this green that we called the green bean. That's where the running gear actually comes from for this, is from the green bean.
Oh, no kidding.
And that, which was a super successful car at Seattle and Oregon and so on and so forth, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
I'm curious. I have to ask.
What?
Targa. Oh, the Targa?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just
It's in for an engine.
ah.
Yep.
I thought it was just another one that
It'd be easy to get distracted here for a little bit. Eh? Like,
Where did Michael?
What year is silver fellow there?
69.
69.
Yep.
And those bumpers we just went in the back. Is that was that a North American thing to put little bumperettes on there? Is that a
No bumperettes. Up until the
cool?
yeah, but anyways,
She bought it from Bob.
yeah. So Bob Simons bought it. They said, "Look, take this car because we can't get you a Speedster. Try it and see what you think." And then he brought it, and he started running it with the Okanagan Autosport Club. And so he raced it, various different things, and then that was where he set fastest time of the day at West Bank Hill Climb. And it's in the Autosports magazine, and I think there's actually some old film footage of it, actually.
no way.
Yeah. And then it just carries on from there. Like, the lineage is just amazing. So,
And then she bought it.
yeah, and it was her first car.
It was her very first
Said-
car.
So the husband at the time was engineer and so on. So they were in it, but I guess it had some oil leaks and whatnot. So they'd pulled the motor out. The motor had been resealed and it was sitting on the floor. And her sister phoned her up and said, "Hey, you want to come over for lunch?" And he goes, "Oh damn, I just got the kids down, and the engine's out of the car." But then she started thinking about it and went, well, you know what? I can deal with this. So she said, I put the engine.
Really want to go for lunch.
I want to go for lunch. So she said, I put the engine back in the car, and the kids woke up. And we went to my sister's for lunch.
She is a piece of work.
Oh, she's incredible. She just like, and just mind-boggling. So, and the stories that come out of her, it's just priceless. So, and
Well, that definitely gives us lots to think about.
okay,
It's, I don't think the camera is going to do it any justice. I think it's a much better car than it appears to be, as far as condition-wise.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's
Still a big project.
Yeah, it's a big project. There's a, you know, like I said, I don't want you guys to feel pressured in any way. And I was thrilled that you guys got that extra nose, because whether you choose to do it or you know we'll do some contra and I'll get that nose off him. We'll fit the nose and send it off to the media blaster and clean it up and put it back together and then put it up for auction, kind of thing.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Well, don't put it up for auction just yet.
no.
I have to think on this.
Yes.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
You did. Was that the
you hear
outside
that?
voice? See, there's this.
You're no
there-
help.
There's this.
I know, I'm sorry.
There's like this whole micro irrigation thing that's got to go in here in the spring,
Yeah.
and because we spent the whole summer moving irrigation reels,
And
I
I'm
think.
tired of that.
Yeah,
I bet.
Joy's tired of that, and so yeah, irrigation's in order, and we're still paying off the $80,000 for the well. So
Water's important though.
water is gold.
Kind of puking over that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's a tough one.
so anyways, and you know what, I mean, I just the fuel level in my tank's getting just a little bit lower.
Well, it sounds like you had a fabulous
You're not
run.
short of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
It's been
no,
Short
yeah,
of
because
work for
like
one guy trying to.
the 69 and that 75 over
You've
there
got a couple of
are
gems yourself you
client
wanna
that's
do
been trying to
versus
get me
other
to
people's
do those
stuff
things
too,
for the
so
last
That's fair enough.
10 years.
Oh boy.
And he called me up the other day, and he just sold off. He's retiring, and he just sold off his fire spotter plane and his water bomber, and he was just waiting for clearance from the Department of Transport on that. And he said, "So, I'm trying to fund you. So, could you?" And I said, "Yep, we'll get to him." So, yeah. So I got enough to do.
Yeah.
And
So how many of these belong to you then? Like, is the red one yours?
that's Josh's actually.
Your son's.
Yeah, and and then the other chassis is ours, and that chassis is ours, and we're probably gonna end up owning the Targa, and the double cab's mine, and
A couple targets here, I
And the
guess.
oval
Ain't that one,
one's
that one?
ours.
and the oval's ours, and
Oh, the oval too.
yeah, and then of course our little, which is gonna come back to life, so because it just has too much sentimental value.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, because it kind of, life happened, and then it disappeared and went off to somebody, and then we found it again. And of course, it came home.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably pick this.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
I got that.
Dave and I got it.
Okay. We're gonna.
Every year old.
Huh?
Year old.
I'm old, yeah. we're gonna get something nicer on it anyway, so it doesn't sweat underneath there, because it's just, poly's terrible, but that'll do for now. Yeah. Good enough, Jeff. Good enough. It's gonna all get moved here in a bit. Anyways, we're gonna do a dung out.
Like, does that car belong to you?
No. That one I sold to. That's a 65.
So we'll try to be relatively quick on giving you an answer on that, so we're not wasting your time. And I know there's other people interested.
Yeah, appreciate
It's a
that.
super cool
Yep.
piece.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now
Okay.
let's go get Dave. He's drooling.
Hey, where are you headed? Where are you headed?
Isn't it interesting how similar we are to those creatures, and yet